Hi, Reborn family and friends. We've got another episode of Real Time Reborn. We're going to talk about the controversial subject of time wasters. We're going to talk about customs gone wrong. And of course, we're going to shout out one of you lovely Reborn family members. Speaking of family members, I've got lovely Isaiah with me tonight. He is so snuggly and so sweet. We have just loved having him. So he just fell asleep. I'm actually gonna go put him in his crib really quick, and then I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Christina, and this is my husband, Bill. Together with our 2 girls and lots of reborn babies, we're the Reborn family. Come along with us as we go on many reborn adventures and grow our family.
Okay, so I told you guys that I was going to talk about time wasters, and I am. I actually have a story about how I am a time waster. So we will get to that. Stick around for that. But first, I want to talk about customs gone wrong. I think that many collectors and artists both can agree that at some point or another, they've had a custom gone wrong. So let's talk about why that happened. Okay, have you ever had a custom baby been made and been disappointed? I know for me, there are times where I have certain expectations that just don't get met. And I think that sometimes this is part of the problem. I think that us as collectors have certain ideas in our minds that perhaps we can't communicate to the artist properly, or we maybe just don't really even know what it is that we have in our heads, but we just know what it is we want and we just can't quite get it. So there's that instance that you may be disappointed when you get your custom because it's not what you had it envisioned in your mind. Another instance, which I kind of just touched on, is communication. I think it's so important that the artist and the collector communicate. You need to communicate well, and you need to communicate, kind of have a connection. Like, I know for me personally, the dolls that I have bonded with the best are the artists that I have bonded with the best. The artists that I have somewhat of a connection with on some kind of a level are the dolls that I end up really bonding with. So the dolls in particular that I'm thinking of for myself would be Angela Plicca, Ebtahola Bull, and Holly Paz. Those are just off the top of my head. Like, I bond with those dolls because I just kind of feel a connection with those artists. Now, on the other side of things is the artist. I think that a lot of times, and I've heard this from many artists that, particularly artists that don't do customs, the reason that, not all artists, I can't speak for them, but many artists don't do customs is because it stifles their creativity. I think that artists have a way of seeing a kit and envisioning how it should be painted and how to really bring it to life, how they can make it look as realistic as possible. And when they're being directed by a client, I think that it can stifle the creativity. And I think too, a lot of artists just enjoy being able to have that creative freedom because I think they get their best work that way. And I think that I know personally, I have seen the most beautiful, realistic dolls from artists when they've been able to just kind of work in their element and work how they know best. And then finally, timelines. Many artists have, whether it's prototypes or other customs or whatever it may be on their plates, as well as, you know, their personal life and families and all of that going on, that they may not have, you know, the same timeline that that the customer thinks that they have. So the client and the artist and the timelines might not always match up. And I think that, you know, us as collectors, we get really excited about a new baby and we can't wait to have it. And sometimes it's really difficult for us to be patient and to wait. And the artist feels that pressure, and it just can kind of make things not very fun for both the waiting client and for the artist that feels rushed and pressured. And also, I think that a rushed doll ends up being not necessarily meeting the expectations of the client as well. So all this to say that many times customs can go wrong. I actually have a personal experience where a custom did go wrong. I always tell artists I work with that I have zero expectation as far as me guiding them. I look at their work, and if I like their work, I say, you create the doll how you envision it. My only request or requirement, I guess, would be that you make it look as realistic as possible. And so, for example, if it's an artist that has a lot of details, I'll say, I really like the details you use. Please, you know, use every detail that you can on this baby and just make it look as realistic as possible. You can choose the hair color, the eye color, the skin color, everything. So I had an artist that created a custom doll for me, and it was going to be about a 6 to 8 week time frame. I said, not a problem. I didn't hear much from her. I didn't reach out much to her. Any communication we did have, she would only reply with one word, which was okay. So there really was no bond or connection. And I had mentioned earlier that I tend to bond more with babies if I'm bonding more with the artist. Now, of course, that's not a requirement. It's just me personally, what I've found to be true so far. So with this particular artist and this particular custom, she reached out to me and said, hey, I'm starting on your custom doll this week. I said, great, I'm so excited. And then it was like, all of a sudden the doll was done, and the doll felt very rushed. It was very, very pale, and I was really disappointed. I assumed I would just have to keep it, and I was gonna just try to sell it because it was not the doll for me. The problem was, anytime people saw the doll, they knew exactly who the artist was, and they knew that it was not her best work. So I immediately reached out to the artist, and I was like, hey, I know this isn't your best work. You know this isn't your best work. And so anyway, long story short, she agreed to give me a refund, and she was able to sell the doll. She actually ended up adding more details to the doll. She added more hair and more color to the doll and then sold it. So, but it was a really disappointing feeling for me. I felt as though she didn't try for me, and I couldn't figure out why. I don't know if because there wasn't like a connection or a bond or what, but it left me feeling like maybe I shouldn't do customs. And so I just want to know what you guys think. Have you ever been disappointed with a custom? Have you ever had a custom gone wrong? If there's any artists watching, I'd love your input as well. Have you had customs gone wrong? Do you still take customs? And if so, what's the pros? What's the cons? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Okay, so I told you guys I was going to talk about time wasters, and I'm going to talk about a personal story regarding me being a time waster. So here it is. So first I'm going to talk about the type of time wasters, and let me back up. So in this community, I found that there's a lot of kind of unwritten rules that I didn't really know about until I got involved with the community. One of them is this term called time wasters. And time wasters can mean many things. Let me explain to you what my understanding is of time wasters. So one is going to be someone that asks too many questions. So let's say that you have a doll for sale, and someone is inquiring about the doll, and they ask too many questions. Apparently, that person could be considered a time waster. They have wasted your time, or an artist's time. If it's the artist selling the doll and the customer asked too many questions, then they wasted the artist's time by asking too many questions. Another would be you take too long on payments. So this is an interesting one. I recently found out about something that happened where a customer had a long-term payment plan. She was paying on a very high-end doll to a very high-end artist, and something happened with her finances where she was no longer able to make her payments. When that happened, she lost that doll. I'm not sure if she lost her previous payments because she had been making payments previously. I assume she lost whatever she had already paid on that doll. So she was out money. That doll then became up for sale. And that doll actually sold within hours of being up for sale. And so the artist still got paid, but that person was labeled a time waster because she wasted the artist's time for several months of making payments and then not being able to complete the payments. And actually it was like her name was blasted all over social media as being a time waster. She had difficulty working with other artists because they heard about her being a time waster and things like that. So it was pretty serious, and I know she was really heartbroken about it. And then I think she was able to rectify the situation by explaining kind of what happened and why, you know, what happened with her financial situation and things like that. So if you fail to make your payments, you are a time waster. If you never intend to buy a doll, but you just want the price and the pictures. So let's say that you see a doll is for sale, but you don't intend to buy it. You just want to get more pictures of it, or you just want to know the price of it just because you're nosy. And what I found in this community is there are a lot of nosy Nancys in this community. So a lot of people will just want to know what the price is of a doll, or want to see more pictures of the doll for whatever reason. And so, because for, you know, a lot of dolls, the price is not public. And so you have to message the artist or the seller directly to find out the price. And so, you know, I think that sometimes people don't actually intend on purchasing the doll. They just want to know what the price is, or they just want to get more pictures, and they're just nosy and want to find that information out. And then therefore they are wasting the time of the artist or the seller because, you know, they don't even have the means to buy that doll. So that would definitely be a time waster. And I know me as a seller at times, I've sold some dolls in the past, and it's definitely frustrating, you know, when people are asking you all these questions and, you know, they want the price and they want more pictures and they want this and they want that, and they have no intention to buy. That's definitely frustrating. So in that sense, I do understand how a time waster could be, you know, frustrating. I never really get upset with people. I'm actually, you know, pretty patient, but I do understand how people could get upset about that. And then finally, in my case, there's a new way that you can be a time waster. Let me explain. So I had a Johanna head, not a kit, just her head. And I had the intentions of having a cuddle baby made for her. But since I ended up getting my Isaiah, I didn't think that I needed a Johanna cuddle baby. So I put my Johanna head up for sale, and an artist or a lady bought it, and she turned out to be an artist. I didn't know who she was. She bought it for the same price plus shipping and fees that I purchased it from. It's a sold out kit, so you can't purchase the Johanna Asleep head from Bountiful Baby right now. So she bought it, and I changed my mind and decided I want to keep it in case I do want to have a cuddle baby made. I told her from the start I wasn't sure if I wanted to really sell it. It was my fault. I will agree with her here. It was my fault. I should have never sold it to begin with. I should have, when I had reservations, I should have just never sold it. I should have said, no, never mind. I don't want to sell it. But I did. I sold it to her. She paid me, and she paid me like right away before I could even think. And then I ended up changing my mind, and I refunded her money. I felt a lot of pressure from her, and I was really anxious and nervous. You guys probably don't know this about me, but I do suffer from social anxiety. And so I was really anxious and nervous about how to tell her that I had changed my mind and I had to change a heart and that I wanted to keep it, because I feared that there would be a lot of drama and that she would get upset. And sure enough, there was a lot of drama and she got upset. And she ended up calling me a time waster, but not just calling me a time waster. She ended up going on her nursery page, and she has like 1,600 people on her nursery page, and she like put my personal Facebook page there for everyone to see, my personal Facebook page, and she put our messages, which you guys can see here, on her nursery page and said, you know, all these things about me and said that I'm a time waster and all this stuff. And so apparently if you have a kit and you sell it and you change your mind and you decide to keep it, you are a time waster. Now, I do feel bad, and I guess in a roundabout way, I did kind of waste her time. I mean, I will agree with her on that. Absolutely. I did waste her time, and I feel really bad about that. But on the flip side, I don't think that it merits what she did. I think that the retaliation, so to speak, that she did was not worthy of the crime that I committed. All this for a $45 transaction. I mean, I just want to take a moment and talk to you guys right now. Me sitting here, I am a human being, and I know a lot of you guys see me on YouTube, and maybe you see me in some of the social media chats or on Instagram and whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm a human being and I have feelings, and really, she just really hurt my feelings. And I don't think that this hobby is worth hurting feelings. And sometimes I think we forget that there's humans on the other side of these things. So anyway, with that said, I was a time waster, and I did waste her time, and she let it be known. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully I won't get my feelings hurt too bad. Let me know in the comments. Okay, guys, I gotta lighten things up a little bit. We gotta have some fun. So it's time for us to shout out our fan of the week, and that is gonna be Reborn Huggles. Reborn Huggles, I picked you because I just love your name. It's fun to say, you're a lot of fun. You always have such positive comments, and we need a lot more of that. So Reborn Huggles, thank you so much. You are the fan of the week. All right, you guys, we are almost done. There's just one more thing I need you to do. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure to press the bell so that you're notified of all new videos from the Reborn family. And don't forget to like this video. Thank you guys. I love you. Bye, Reborn family.